Schatzie, Schnitzel, Liebchen. How are you, my little Liebchen, my little Schnitzel, my little Sprocket? How are you? You look adorable. Welcome to one of the greatest art forms in the history of mankind. And of course, wir sprechen about acting. Now, some of you, hey, look at me, some of you want to become an actor because you want to be famous and you want to get a lot of praise and have a lot of people adore and admire you. If that's why you're here, there's a door right over here. Right as there is a door. And don't let it hit you in the bum-bums on your way out. Do you understand? It'll smack you right in the bum-bums. Okay? That is not what we here at the Helmut School is about. No. What we are about is creating art. We are about creating a feeling within the audience and the listeners' participations. Now, this great question, of course, is how do we get you and me to connect and have a true experience? Well, that is what we're here to do, isn't it? Good. Now, everybody, relax and take a breath with me. And I want everybody to give out a gentle hum. Okay, that's right. I want everybody to give out a little gentle hum. Good, very good. Now what we're doing is we're warming up the vocal cords. Okay. Now, great vocal coach once taught me that the best way to loosen up your vocal cords is actually to hum and gently turn your head from side to side. So we're all going to do that, okay? That's right. So hum and gently turn your head from side to side with me. Go. Good. Just like that. Good. Hum. Good. You're so cute when you do that. I love it. Okay. So, we're going to start at the beginning of what it means to be an actor. Okay? You are fundamentally going to be a professional human being, which means you are going to have to feel all the feels. Do you understand? You are going to have to feel all the emotions. Okay? And to do that, we must get in touch with our inner beings. Right? Good. So tell me, when was the first time you remember feeling joy? Let's start with a happy one. When was the first time you remember feeling joy? Maybe it was at a birthday party. Maybe it was at some kind of a celebration with your family. Maybe it was a Christmas morning. You remember being very excited. But tell me a time when you felt the joys. Oh, that's a great story. Oh my gosh. Okay, I like that very much. Okay. Now, at the same time, tell me then you felt terrified. Oof. That sounds very scary. Now, are you ready to write this down? Nobody has your pencils and your pens, right? Okay. Write this down. There are 3 tenets of good acting: imagination, concentration, and relaxation. Say it again with me, okay? Imagination, concentration, and relaxation. Okay? So, if you're feeling tense in your performance, you must come up with techniques and methods that will allow you to relax, and calm yourself internally. For me, what works for me is when I take the pressure off of myself and I put it onto my scene partner or my audience, okay? Because when feeling self-conscious, it's because we are trying to look good and be impressive. And as we all know, when we're trying to look good and be impressive, there's a word for that. And what's that word? What's it called? That's right. It's called the ego, right? And the ego is the death of any good performance. If you are concerned about looking good on the stage or in front of the camera, I guarantee you, you won't look good, okay? You look like a 3-year-old donkey in a zoo. You look terrible. Now, the only way that you and me, as storytellers, are going to get across the impact and the connection that we're looking for is if you abandon the ego. You must let it go. Let it not be part of you. As I was told when I studied at the Groundlings, which is improv school, yes. Well, one of the great tips that the Groundlings say is choose to lose, right? In other words, if your character is labeled something that's very, very unpleasant, like, you're an alcoholic uncle, or overbearing parent, or whatever the character is, okay? You must never deny, you must always embrace. Choose it. Choose to find in that character the things that make him or her move forward in their lives, right? Because there's no such thing as somebody in a play or a movie, a character, even a villainous character. They all think that they're justified, and they all think that what they're doing is okay and rational, even if they're a horrible person, unless they're being forced to against their will, which that's another character decision choice. But otherwise, the characters are behaving in their own minds rationally, right? So we can't judge the characters. And we have to embrace that within you and within me, okay, all these things are possible. So let's look back at some of the great performances, right? So you think of like the great Sir Anthony Hopkins. Who does he play? He plays, his most famous role is the Hannibal Lecter, right? In this character, he plays a sociopathic, psychopathic. He's devoid. He cares nothing about the feelings of his victims. Nothing. And he does horrible, horrible things to them. He kills them, he murders them, and of course, he eats them. He's Hannibal, he's a cannibal. And at the same time, audiences, myself, we love the character, right? There's something almost poetic about the way he plays him. He's so charming, he's so articulate, he's so smart, right? And the way Mr. Hopkins is able to create such a vile human and still make him somehow likable. It's truly why he is one of the great gifts to all of acting, yeah? So, but the point is, just because he plays that character does not mean that he himself is a psychopathic murderer, right? He's finding within the character his motivations, his connection with the Jodie Foster, right? And he truly wants to help the young agent Starling, yes, young Jodie Foster. He wants to help the young agent in his genuine affection. He genuinely likes her. And the audience feels that, right? Let's take another example. So there's many, many famous Nazi characters, okay? So there's the character Ralph Fiennes plays in the Spielberg, the famous Spielberg movie about all the Jews and the Schindler's List, yes? Now, Ralph Fiennes is, again, playing a monster of a character, truly horrific human being, murderer. And yet you also find there are times of tenderness where you care for the character. Now, what if, or my other favorite example, yes, is Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz is an Austrian actor from Inglourious Bastards, plays Colonel Hans Lander of the SS. Remember this character from the Quentin Tarantino. Christoph Waltz does a brilliant job at playing this truly monstrous character, and we find ourselves liking and laughing with him at these strange times, but there's always a danger. We always know that underneath, this man could kill us at any second. He might just snap his fingers and break our necks, and he wouldn't think twice about it. And what I'm getting at is, this is the beauty of acting. You get to go into the minds and the thoughts and the feelings of people who are maybe completely different than you or me, and yet all of us, you and me, have within us the capability of doing very, very terrible things. And it's one of the great gifts about being an actor and Schauspieler, a storyteller, that we are able to experiment with all the different parts of our bodies and our psyche and our minds. So, don't be afraid to open up that part of yourself, that vulnerability, because in all great acting, the key is vulnerability. Being able to see into the character, right? Being able to see into how that person, whether they be a serial killer or some kind of monster, like a Nazi or whatever, right? But we can step into that character and find love. That's another thing about all great acting. All great acting, the actors, they find the love. There's always something to love. Always, right? So, when you're looking at it and you're reading your script and your lines, where's the love? Who can you love more? How can you, the famous acting is how do you raise the stakes, right? How do we make it more important? How do we make this moment happening right now, and there's a scene, literally life or death? That's the reason, by the way, that we have so many of the crime dramas on the TVs, right? CSI Miami, CSI New York, and all the different cop shows. And the same reason we have all the different medical shows, right? House, ER, Grey's Anatomy, and many others. The reason they're so popular is because they deal with life and death all the time, right? If you're a cop, or you're a police officer, or FBI, you're always dealing in danger, life and death. Think about that for a moment, okay? I'm gonna get a drink of water. Hold that thought. So, what was I saying? Talking about life and death and raising the stakes of the characters. And getting back to what we talked about in the very beginning, which is the ego. Now, as we said, the ego is the death of all great acting. You must write this down. Already, write this down. You must always strive to be expressive, not impressive. You must always strive to be expressive, not impressive. If you're trying to be impressive, I guarantee that you will fail. You will neither look good, nor will you be impressive to anybody. It's another reason why when you're acting, okay, especially on the camera, not on the stage. The stage is a bit different, right? When you're stage acting, you're going to rehearse with the director, and when it's time to go, you are set free for 2 hours as the actor, right? You and the audience. So the director no longer matters. They've done the job, okay? However, when you're on the camera, it's very different. It's a director's medium. That's why they say the stage is the actor's medium and the film is the director's medium. Because the stage actor is directly communicating with the audience and creating the performance and the connection and so forth. And it's just straight. It's 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. How long is the play? 1 hour, whatever. And it's all about the actor and the stage and the audience. with the film acting, it's about the director's point of view. Yes? It's the point of view of the camera. There's the camera looking. There's the camera not looking. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you're an actor on a camera, you never, ever cut yourself. In other words, you will always keep going in the scene no matter what until the director says cut. Do not stop. I'll give you a couple of famous examples. So, in the famous film, A Fish Called Wanda, there's a scene where the main character is just staring off into space for like 15 seconds. He's just staring. Robert Klein, it's a great actor, Robert Klein, along with Jamie Lee Curtis. And Robert Klein, there's a moment where Jamie Lee Curtis asks him a question, and he just kind of stares slack-jawed off the camera like this. He just stares. And apparently, he had forgotten his line. And they left it in. They left it in the screen. They just left it in. And it's one of his favorite moments in the film because it's just a true moment. It's just a person trying to think of something to say. And it completely works, right? Another famous, like, oopsie moment that caught on camera that stayed in the movie is from the movie Almost Famous. Yes, the Cameron Crowe, which is basically a biography of himself. There's a moment when the young boy, the young journalist, is talking to Miss Penny Lane, and she asks him, "Do you want to come on a journey?" And he says, "Yes." And then he goes, "Ask me again." And she goes, "Do you want to come?" And he goes, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." Well, that was not in the script. The "ask me again" part, that was just, he wanted to get a different reaction for himself, I guess, as the actor. But he didn't cut. He didn't stop himself. And that actually stayed in the movie. So there's a great little scene there, and kind of towards the beginning, where the young boy goes, Penny Lane, asks the question, and he says, "Ask me again." Great little moment. Almost Famous, another fantastic film. And another moment, one of my all-time favorites too, is from the great When Harry Met Sally, with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. Yes. And there's a scene where they are in, I believe it's the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art, and Billy Crystal is being just kind of improving, talking about, "But I would be proud to partake of my pecan pie, but something about my poppycock and so forth." But this is Billy Crystal, and he's just riffing, as a great comic that he is. And there's a moment where Meg Ryan is trying to keep up, and Billy Crystal does something so fast, and she kind of laughs, and she says, like, "I can't do it," and she looks over at Rob Reiner, the director, and you can see it's in the film. She looks over at Rob Reiner and goes like straight to the director, and he's in the back just going. And that, of course, stayed in the film. And so, the reason it's so important when you're doing film acting is because you're just trying to capture these authentic moments. And they will come at the strangest times when you don't expect them. So always stay in the moment. Stay in the pocket, as they say. Stay right inside that pocket of the scene. And never cut yourself. That's the director's job when you're on the camera. And of course when you're on stage and you're with an audience. One of my biggest pet peeves when I see a young actor on the stage and something happens they didn't want, like something falls out of the pocket, right? Something falls on the ground, or something happens that's just a completely normal human thing that happens in life, and they ignore it because they didn't rehearse that to happen, so they just ignore the thing like the elephant in the room. And then it becomes, for me, that's the only thing I can think about, is that one stupid little thing. All the actor has to do is just reach down and pick it up or throw it away or something. But they're so scared, they're so tense and nervous that they lock up. Just be a normal person. Be a normal person, be loose, be relaxed. What are the 3 tenets of all great acting? What are the 3 tenets? Again, you wrote them down earlier. Relaxation, imagination, concentration. Relaxation, imagination, concentration. Right? You've got to be relaxed. Now, okay, my little Liebchens. I'm very excited to see the scenes that you brought in for me today. Remember the key starting points. What's your moment before? What was your character doing right before you opened your mouth? Are they coming from somewhere? What are they doing? What's the moment before? 2. In the moment, what are you fighting for? What do you want the other person to think, feel, believe? Right? What are you fighting for in the moment? Now, if you ever get stuck in a moment in your scene, play love or blame. Find more love in the scene, find more love, or blame the other character, the other person. It will get you unstuck. Okay? So be expressive, not impressive. Relaxation, imagination, concentration. If you get stuck, play love or blame. Never play the victim. Always take, and because being the victim is too passive, you got to be active. Make an active choice. And a moment before, what are you fighting for? Raise the stakes. Always raise the stakes. Can there be more love, more hate, more jealousy, more anger, more sadness, more fear? But always find the love. The more love you feel. For example, who in our lives are the people that we get the most angry at? Our loved ones, our families, right? We love them very, very, very much, and that is why we get the most angry at them. Yes? Okay. I've been talking for quite a while, and now it is your turn, and I'm very excited to see what you have prepared for me. So, if you're ready, go ahead. The stage is yours. Break a leg, as they say. And action.